Hello, good evening. Welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. As always, I'll be talking to an author whose book I have read and enjoyed. My guest this week is Tanushi Singh, whose poetry book I have read, and we are going to talk about her poetry book. Hello, Samim. Thank you for joining. We are going to talk about Tanushi Singh's poetry book, Hurricane. Heart in a Hurricane, and I'm waiting for her to join me so we can start today's episode. Please stay tuned. I'm really excited for today's episode because after a very long time, I have a guest who is also a poet like me and enjoys and writes poetry really well. I have enjoyed her book, Heart in a Hurricane. It's a collection of poems, and we are going to talk about that book and a lot many other things. So do stay connected. Hello, Dark Fantasy Reviews. Thank you for joining. I'm waiting for the guest to join so we can start the episode of Author Collaborative. My guest today is Tanushi Singh. She's a poet and an author. I have read her book Heart in a Hurricane, which is a poetry collection, and I really enjoyed reading it. We will be talking about that book and a lot of other things related to books and writing. So do stay connected. Let me see if my guest is here. Just invited her. We should be able to start the episode soon once she is here. Please stay connected. Hi Tanushi. Tanushi is here. You are able to join. Hi Sukana. Thank you for joining. Tanisha, Tanushi, I accepted your request. Were you not able to join? Let me also try and send a request to you. Sometimes we never know what works with Instagram and what doesn't. I've sent you a fresh request. See if you can accept it. Instagram live has been a hassle lately for me. Every time I do this author collaborative, something or the other, some or the other glitches, always an impediment. Uh, Tanushi, can you let me know in the comments if you were able to receive my request or what is the issue? As always, Instagram is not letting me start the episode smoothly. Uh, I also sent you an invitation. Okay, see, I am accepting yours. Hey, hi. Yes, finally. How are you? And welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yes, I'm also good. Very, very happy to have you here as a guest.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's been a long while since I've done any live, Facebook or Instagram.
Oh, okay. So, after how long are you doing this?
I think after easily two years to हो गए हैं. Easy, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow. That's a long break. So I'm glad I could restart uh, that uh, that journey for you again.
yeah.
Hopefully, you should
I'm
be
good.
able to do more of this from now.
Yes, yes. I would love to. Yeah.
So I was just telling the audience that I've read your book. Before we talk about the book, can you tell us something about yourself? Who are you, and what do we know about you? What do we don't know about you?
So I am. I'm. I don't know how to start. Okay, fine. Used to be a civil engineer, and now a teacher, professionally. An army wife, mother of two kids, and it's been a great journey. Just trying to figuring out life, figuring out work, And I can say it's not like I didn't enjoy my civil engineering work. I used to design buildings for a living, and it was wonderful. But I
Hmm.
think once you have kids, your priorities change. I mean,
Okay.
you just change automatically. And I didn't feel like going back to that hectic schedule because it was a hectic schedule. Morning to night, I used to be busy. So I wanted a job which would give me time for my family. Plus, writing happened after motherhood. So that's another side of me that I had no clue I had. That only happened when I stopped working and like took a complete break from professional life. So and I realized I have this passion, I have this side of me where I wanted to write. There's so much inside me that I wanted to pour out, and it was a great creative outlet, and it helped me heal in a lot of ways. I mean, I didn't even know there was so much to heal inside me until I started writing. And that's why I think poetry has helped me evolve as a person, and that's why I love it so much. Yeah.
Yeah, and I must say that I, in fact, loved reading your poetry. And before we talk more about it, let's just show the cover to the people and uh, tell them what we are talking about. So, this is the book we are talking about, Heart in a Hurricane. I don't know, there's a lot of light here, but I don't know if it's visible.
Yeah,
So, we are
it's
talking
visible.
about this book, Heart in a Hurricane. It's a poetry collection, and I absolutely loved reading it. And I wanted to read it slowly, but because we had to do this, I was hurrying it up. And I am sure I'm going to go back and read it again because I liked some of them so much. I was like, Kash mein se aaram se pad pati. I wish I had more time to absorb this the way it
Yeah.
is supposed to be absorbed.
Lovely to hear that. Lovely to hear that. So
Before,
my
yeah,
yeah.
yes, please go on.
So
Yes.
my poems are short, and I don't think they're difficult to understand because I don't have a literature background as such. So my English is very simple. So I think it can connect to most people who like reading. You don't have to love poetry as such. I know it's a niche genre. Not everybody tries out poetry.
Hmm.
So it's very so, when I meet people and when they say actually you write poetry, some they feel कि पता नहीं क्या ही लिखती होगी,
Yeah.
something that we can't even like comprehend. And I'm like trying to tell them, no, 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 it's not that difficult vocabulary or anything. I'm writing simple words, simple emotions. Hopefully it can resonate with people who love to read. So not everybody likes reading poetry, so that's why I don't tell people ki padho. It's like क्यों जबरदस्ती देना है पढ़ने के
Hmm.
लिए. Only if you like reading poetry should you try it out. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. And yes, there is a preconceived notion. I agree. I am also a poet. I've written 3 poetry books. So I know the kind of place you are coming from and the hesitation
Yeah.
with that comes from readers that, I'm not much into poetry. I will not understand it. I don't prefer this
Yes.
genre.
Yes.
Those are the kind of responses we generally get.
Generally, yes. That's
So
the
I'm
that's
going to, sorry.
that's the usual sight,
Yeah.
I think, for most people. Yeah.
Yeah. Nilshri is here. Hi, Nilshri. Thank you for joining. And
Hello
Sukana is
to
also saying
everyone.
hello.
Hello to everyone who's joined. Thank you for joining.
Sukana is also saying pros person here. Yes, so Sukana is a very dear friend of mine and she's also a regular reader of my books. The one complaint I always have with her is that she doesn't read the poetry books that I put out very fast. The prose ones that I put out, she reads in a day or two. But the poetry books, she generally tends to take longer. And yeah, it's the same reason because people don't read poetry as much.
Yeah, they don't. And people who love reading poetry, there is another benefit that I would like to add, that you can just keep it next to your bedside and you can pick up from any page. There is no
Yeah.
story going on. You can just open a page and read something, and maybe you might connect to what you're going through or something that you can relate to.
Yeah.
So it's something you can just like आते जाते पढ़ लो. Yeah, you don't have to sit and go through
True,
the
true.
yeah whole flow.
So, one of the poems that I really enjoyed from your book, I'm going to read one of them out. There were many, like I think more than 50% book I have highlighted while I was reading it. But one of them
Okay.
was something that really struck out to me. So this one is titled "Will We Be Okay?" Do you love me beneath my imperfections? Do you see me beneath my frustrations? Do you want to know me beyond my fury, arising amidst what stays buried within? Will you stand by me when I am difficult and not ready to calm down? Will you remind me to just breathe when I'm losing self while saving everything around me? Will we be together through the disdain of handling the chores roles whilst trying to remember who we are and going through it all? Will we stay each other's all? You and I will get through it all and still stay strong? Will we be okay? I think. What do you think? Have been waiting to know. Will we be okay? Not just today, tomorrow, but till our last breath. You, I, and our morrows. So
Yeah.
I
Thank you. Right.
especially like this one because these are the kind of insecurities every person has had.
Yeah.
Like whenever we have those feelings for someone, or even if the love is new or old, we always have
Yeah.
that insecurity that will this person accept me at my worst or not? Will they stay by my side when we are going through a bad phase or not? So wonderfully done.
So this book, I believe, is more for the uh, people who have long relationships or married people, because the kind of emotions that have been poured out here is for people who have really stuck together for a lot of years. That's when you go through all of these things. वो जो रोजी रोजी कॉलेज कोर्टशिप टाइम में ये सब नहीं, you will not go through all this. So you have to that's why I say marriage, because I think married couples can connect with this, or maybe even live in couples, people who are not married but are living together, they can connect with this.
Yeah. And yes, that is definitely that those who have been in long-term relationships might understand most of the poems better. But this one particularly, I felt like uh,
It's for everyone.
it's for everyone and
Yeah.
more for those people who have not yet completely opened up to their partners.
Right, right.
We
Great.
have comments also dropping in. We all have insecurities. I really connected with the poem Silent Bravery. I think that person has read your
Yes,
poems. And
yes, I like Silent Bravery too. Okay. Thank you so much. Dark fantasy reviews. Okay. Thank you.
so, based on my reading of your book and whatever I know about you after reading the book, I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
My
Okay.
first question to you is, since it is a poetry book, and I don't know if we can consider you a uh, comparatively new author or an established author, but since you are already a few books down now, I want to
Yeah.
understand from you that one piece of advice that you wish somebody had given you before decided to publish your first book.
So with me, Manali, it's been a very, very gratifying journey. Why?
Hmm.
Because I had no ambition of becoming a published author.
Hmm.
This was all, you can call it like I was first blogging. I started blogging. I first started learning. For 1 year, I just wrote. I just wrote like I was on a I don't know. I was on this mission of trying to understand what's going on in my head. So I would write every day. For a year, I have consistently written every day. Good, bad, I didn't care. I was just writing. I had a good platform called Poetry Planet. It's a Facebook global platform, like a study platform. And a Philippine lady runs it. And she became a good friend. I mean, she got to know how much I'm writing. And she's the one who encouraged me, ki, you write so much, let me compile it into a book instead of
Hmm.
you just putting it out in a blog online. Let me give you copyright. And it made sense. So that's how my book got published. My first book got published. I was not even looking at publishing. I was just writing. I was just writing for myself, just writing to get better, just writing to mentally feel
Hmm.
better. I was in a phase when I needed to write. Otherwise, I would have, maybe need to go to therapy, meet a therapist, maybe like proper therapy. So poetry was like therapy for me. Yeah, it really truly worked. That's why I was at it, because every time I wrote, I felt better. So That's what I'm saying. My journey is not about becoming an author. This is
Hmm.
just something that has happened because I've written so much and there has been so much content.
Hmm.
So, two books happened just by through this Philippine lady. Her name is Tess. She's a good friend now. In fact, I work for those. I try to work for those people in that community. I try to conduct. So how I learned is through poetry contest, through poetry challenges. She would put word prompts. She would give a picture, and she would ask us to write. Tess would ask us to write on that platform, and all aspiring poets would just write whatever they would, and she would award them, give them rewards. Whoever is excellent would come in the best excellent, somebody would win. So I win one sometimes, so that gave me a sort of validation that
Hmm.
I'm doing okay.
Hmm.
She That's how she goes about it. She gives people that level of confidence, and when enough content got generated, she has a publishing house now. So that's what she does. She makes anthologies. She's making authors out of that community, and that's how I also became an author, through her platform.
Okay, wonderful.
But
Okay.
and yeah, and it got published in America. Like, she does it from Philippines, and it gets published in Amazon.com. So it's in
Oh,
dollars.
okay.
So my first two books were in dollars, which didn't make any sense because it's not going to reach the Indian market. All this
Hmm.
I didn't realize. So the question that you just asked me, the biggest, I wouldn't say mistake, but it was like a sense of realization
Yeah,
that nikal to
it's a
li books, but
learning. Yeah.
yeah, it's a learning. You realize that how is it going to reach your family or your friends?
Hmm.
Nobody is going to buy that
Hmm.
book. So then I was like, okay, next time I want to take out a book, or I have enough content. Let me try through the Indian market. Let me try an
Hmm.
Indian publisher. And Tess understood. She didn't take it personally. She's like, I understand. Nobody will buy, from your community is India, and you want to do it from India. So then, so after that, after two books, I stopped. My two books in 2018, in a span of 6 months, she published two books: Rainbow and Her Moon and Scribbling of My School, my first two
Okay.
books.
Oh,
And the
okay.
three next three books happened in a span of like one year to 2 years. So my
Okay.
writing journey started from 2016. That's when
Okay.
my daughter was born, and I think after her birth, within that 1 year, I started writing.
Okay.
So a lot of people would be amazed कि तुम्हारी इतनी छोटी बेबी है तुम लिख रही हो, पर लिखना पड़ता था. Otherwise, I would have gone. I think
Yeah,
that
true. Most people
I
don't
think
understand
it
that.
was
Keep, writing firstly begins as a therapy.
yeah, and it was postpartum depression. I'm not going to deny it. I was depressed. I needed to get out of it. Yeah, so that's how it started.
So one major learning you got was to try and understand how to make the book more available to your audience.
Yes, yes, yes.
Identifying your target audience and understanding how you can reach them.
Yes, and I have to tell you, I wouldn't have understood how to go about it until I found the right agent. And I have to talk about him. He is, Sohail. He's become a friend now. He's in very good. There's an agency called the Book Bakers, Noida-based agency, and the three books that I've published in the Indian market is through him. He's the
Okay.
one, going through publishers. I'm not doing any hard work. He does all the hard work. He's been really helpful, very encouraging, and always pushing me that you can do it. Don't worry. ये book भी हो जाएगी, वो book भी हो जाएगी. मतलब उसको manuscript दो, and he's like, don't worry, just give me the sample and it'll be done. So you need
Okay.
someone like that, that push, that confidence, that don't worry, we'll get your book out. Yeah.
Okay. Nilshri is also saying writing inspired by motherhood. She is also an inspired mother writer.
Great. That's great.
Okay, so my next question to you is also related to this only. That as authors, we are also always trying to reach a wider audience, newer readers. So, in your experience, reaching more and more audience and newer people, newer readers is becoming very challenging. So, what do you think that the authors or writers should do to gain maximum readership? And tell us about something that has worked for you or something that hasn't worked for you.
Over the span of these books that have come out, I have realized with every book there was a learning. So with the Indian books also I realized book to nikal gayi, market mein nikal gayi, but how do I then it comes to promotion. Promotion
Hmm.
is a very big part. I mean, you do all the hard work, you put it out there, but if you don't promote it, nobody even knows your book is there.
Hmm.
So a very, very big part, which I think we must openly say, is that no matter how good your book is, if you don't promote it well, it's not going to reach the audience.
Hmm.
Nobody will even come to know it there. And it is tough because most of the time I don't even have the funds for it, because it requires a lot of funding, lot of
Yeah.
effort. And not every time the publisher is going to fund in for all the promotions. Most of the
Yeah.
time it's the authors, they'll help you in the first part. Thoda sa help kar lenge. They just make the banners and all, promote you in the beginning. Then it's all up to you. They'll, help you launch it maybe somewhere big, but then after that it's on you, so then it's very difficult. So what, see, my genre is poetry, so I don't know how the people with novels are going about it, but I believe with poetry, what I have understood looking at the market these days, the youth is getting interested in poetry, spoken word poetry. They want
Okay.
to
Hmm.
listen to poetry, they don't have the time to
Hmm.
read, but they
Hmm.
want to listen. So if you can make videos, if you can speak well, so I don't have that confidence like Rupi Kaur and all. They perform on stage, they can speak their poetry well. So if I had that art, I wish I could, also perform my poetry, and then it would have worked much better. But I do think a spoken word is the way, like poetry slam, spoken word is the way it will increase in India.
Hmm.
People will still not buy, people will still not put in money, people will still want to just see how what you're saying.
Hmm.
And you might get famous as an author, people are listening to, they might still not buy your books, but they love
That
to
is
listen
true.
to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the truth I've come to realize, at least about poetry. Yeah.
Yeah, I am loving the honesty in your answers. Firstly, you said that we have to shell our own money, which most authors don't accept. And then you said that the publisher will only, support you till their capacity allows them. They can't
Yes.
handhold you every step of the
Yeah,
way.
they will not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is so true because, especially for indie authors, it is very important to understand this. I believe that if you are not getting, if you are only chasing the big five, that's what I call them, and that's what they are called, the big five publishers. If you are only chasing for them, yes, your book might get recognition, but after a point, it's up to you how you are going to promote them.
Yeah,
So it
it's true.
So if your book is good enough, if your content is good enough, it doesn't matter who's publishing you. The promotion and how to reach the right audience ultimately falls on your shoulders.
Right, right. And that is a struggle. It's a struggle in with every book. I'm trying to find out ways as to how to make the book reach the right audience. You don't even know where the audience is sitting. Who is the real who are these people who really want to there are people who watch my Instagram posts, who are very regular in liking and all of that, the stories and the posts I put. In fact, I think the stories are more popular than the post, is what something I've realized about my profile. So these are the observations I make, that people want to see more of picture, people want to see more of
Videos.
background
Yeah.
music, yeah, and videos, reels. These are the things that work. People don't have time to really sit and read much. That
And
doesn't.
I loved how you said that despite doing all this and despite them liking your content and following it, it's not necessary that they will click on that buy button on your book.
They, they will not. They will give me all the love by following me, by liking my post. But buy button नहीं होता है. वो Kindle version ले ले, वही बहुत है. I'm like, okay, thank you. At least you're buying the Kindle. Yeah.
Even that's not a guarantee. I can tell you. I can
That's
also tell
also
you
not.
out of
Yeah.
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 Kindle भी नहीं लेंगे. There are many who will blatantly ask you for PDF also.
True. True. That's so true. So yeah, at that time you do feel like यार इतनी मेहनत की है, please ले लो, at least आप हक से अपने दोस्तों को बोल सकते हो. You can't tell everyone.
Yeah.
And tell everyone to buy. Yeah.
I love the honesty here. It's so rare to come across a guest and an author who's so open about everything. So thank you for the honesty. And that brings me to the end of my questions I had for you. Now the floor is yours. You have also read my latest book, so all yours.
Yes. First of all, I wanted to read your poetry book, but then you said your latest is not a poetry book. So I said, okay, chalo ye pad lete hain. But I loved it. Now I have been having a mad time lately. Moving around with my husband in different places. So I didn't have the time to really, and I was not in that frame of mind to read anything intense. So your book was perfect. It was the perfect read, and what I loved about every story was there was a message, a very nice, sometimes a very emotional message, sometimes a very powerful message, and every story was very heartwarming. Like every
Thank you so
story made
much.
me smile, literally. Yeah, and the beauty of it is those Bollywood songs. Initially, I'm like, हिंदी में initially, the first story I read, मैंने बोला ये खुद हिंदी भी लिखती है क्या? I mean, is she like a shyer also? But then I'm like, नहीं 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 नहीं, ये तो बॉलीवुड के famous गाने हैं. That's when I realized while going through all the, and I was like, wow, how do you connect the story and find the apt song? How are you able to do it so well? It was amazing. And this is something new
Thank
for me. I've never seen this anywhere, whenever, anywhere I've read. So it's a
uh,
unique USP for the book, I would say. And
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Neeta and Mega have joined us, and they are both saying hi. Hi, Neeta. Hi, Mega.
Hi, Neeta. Hi, Samiran. I saw you also joined. Samiran is a
Hello.
follower.
Uh, the real Napster, is that the one? The real Napster has also said, "Good to see you live, Tanu ma'am."
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they are your
He's
student. Yeah, yeah.
Samiran. No, he's just a follower. I don't even know
Okay,
him much. Yeah, he's a kid, but he's a, yeah.
okay. Hello, and thank you for joining. So, yes, we were talking about my book, Heartstrings and Harmonies. Would it be possible for you to read out?
Yes. So I was, since I had finished this book, not so like not just now, it's been some days. So मैं वही देख रही थी कौन सी वाली पढ़ूं, because there were so many that I really liked. Um, so let me just. Can I read the whole story or just a
No,
part?
no, that will be giving away a spoiler.
Okay.
Let me just show the audience the cover. Meanwhile, until the time you find
Oh,
the cover.
let me do that. Let me also do that.
So,
Wait.
this is the book that we are
Yeah.
talking about, Heartstrings and Harmonies. This is my latest book that Tanushi has read, and she was talking about it, and now she is going to read out from it.
So there is this story titled "This Heart Says Live a Little." So I'm just going to read one small para. Another day of going through the routine, and a few more hours of wondering what went wrong. At least now they'd grown out of blaming each other for it. After half an hour, Sharda and Manish sat at the table, gulping down their dinner in silence. As was the dictated norm over the past 5 years, no words were exchanged between the couple. It was a chore, like any other, not unlike their professional duties. In fact, to an observer, it might even look more dull than a client pitch presentation by Manish or conducting a poetry class for young minds by Sharda. They would at least smile there, which was even genuine on most occasions. Here, there were no pretenses either. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
love this one. This was another beautiful one. So a lot of times towards the end, you realize what the story is all about. So that twist you've given in a lot of them, and it's beautifully done.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so happy to hear that. And this particular story, I most people might not know, of course. The audience have not probably, let's not assume that they know about the book or they have read it. So the title of each story in the book is based on a Hindi song, and the story that you have just read out, it's titled "The Heart Says Live a Little," and it's based on the song "Jile Zara" from the movie Talash.
Yes.
So it's the literal English translation of the song.
Yes, yes.
So, and
So,
that song is all about how the couple is also going through something that something similar that we are talking about in the story. And
yes,
you've already established the base that the couple is not talking to each other. They have
yeah,
some problems. There's no
problem.
absolutely no communication.
No communication. And sometimes that's what I've realized, reading these kind of stories, that it's not important to communicate. I mean, people just, a lot of times this happens that, you're just in that rut of that routine. Sometimes itne din ho jate hain when the couple is not even talking. You're in your own zone. The wife and husband are too busy working out their routine, and sometimes the misunderstandings crop up because of this, because there's no clear. This is not connected to the story, of course. Your story is very, very different. But just a realization that this happens a lot of times to a lot of people. This kind
It
of,
does, yes.
yeah, silences that just go on for days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are some long form of questions. In fact, I have three. So
Hmm.
if there is time, I'll ask you all
Yeah,
three.
yeah, we have time. Go on.
So I wanted to know your writing process. So, like you said, I wanted to know, like, the song comes first or the story comes first. But right now, because there's song, you spoke about the song.
So generally the song comes first, and in fact, since each of the story in this book is inspired by a writing prompt, the prompt came first, and from that prompt came the story. Sometimes the story came first. For instance, in this particular story, the prompt was that somebody has won a lottery. And
Oh,
my immediate thought was, I want the character to do something good with their money because of something that happened in their life. And then
okay.
and then the song came about because uh, the song also is somewhat of that way, that the couple has gone through something and they are trying to grieve in their own way and come out of
Yeah.
it. So for this particular thing, the story came first and then the song came. But for some of the stories, for instance, there is one story where the story where the world slogan "Stay Vigilant," where the song is "Jame Raho" from Tare Zameen Par. For that particular one, the song came first because I was very sure that I wanted to show two siblings who are completely opposite of each other and
Opposite. Yeah.
how, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Got it. So, I have always been curious. See, for me, poetry comes organically. In fact, all the books that have come, it has come naturally. I have not thought of the theme also. The theme is just life. Life happened, and these themes just happened. So nothing was really thought out or planned out for each of the books. But when you're writing a novel or any, like, even a short story book, I wanted to understand, how do you go through the writing process? Is there a, the plot comes first, and then or the characters come first in your mind and then the story follows, or the story comes first and then the character follows? How is it? How do you go about it?
So I have realized that I am a completely different writer for each genre that I write. For poetry, it is something that comes very naturally to me. It's all very organic. The idea definitely comes first, and then I develop it into a poem. For
Okay.
poetry, that's how it generally works. For novels, the plot and characters come first, and then the writing happens. Uh, for instance, my debut novel that I wrote in back in 2021, the idea came to me in a dream, and immediately on this day when I had that dream, I started writing the story. First of all, the ending was very clear for both the novels that I wrote. So
Hmm.
for novels, it's always that the ending is clear in my head before even I start writing the story. The characters have told me this is what they want their story to be like, and then it's just going chapter wise and incident wise, leading it towards the climax. This is what I do with novels. And when it comes to short story and short fiction, I am not a plotter at all. I become a panster, and a panster is somebody who lets the characters talk to them as they are writing the story. I let it develop.
Okay, nice. That's nice. Okay, you just let it develop as you're writing. Nice.
For
Great.
short fiction, that's what works. But for long fiction, I can't be a panster. I have to let the characters tell me
Okay.
the ending clearly first.
yeah. Ending is the main part, right, right. So you have written so many books, and you're in the profession of writing, I have understood. You're also an editor, a content writer. So, what is the one thing that you would like to tell? There are so many writers out there who have the passion for writing but don't have the confidence to publish, or to put their manuscript out there for a publisher. So, what is the one thing that you'd like to like advise for aspiring writers?
So, as you also mentioned in your first answer, that the question that I asked you, for me also it was the process of learning and realizing what I could have done differently after I published my first book. So when I put out my first book, I was very new, and I made the mistake of not talking to people from the industry, not talking to people from the community who already know what will work or what will not work, or at least they can help me make a decision based on their learnings. So what I would say is, before you decide to publish a book, content, keep it ready. First draft has to be ready. So हाँ मुझे author बनना है, that is an aspiration, very good aspiration to have, but have your content in place first. That's the first thing I would tell you. And the second thing I would tell you is, talk to the people from the industry. Try and understand what kinds of publishing exist out there and what will work best for you. And based on that, decide what is the purpose that you want to bring out the book. Do you want to earn money from it, or do you just want your uh, writing to reach as many people as possible? What is your purpose in bringing out that book? That's very important. So I would say this, I wish I had done that. So I would want that, if somebody is aspiring to be a writer or wants to put out their first book, I would always advise them, try and understand the industry first. Try and see, talk to people from the community who have published their books
As
through
in,
different platforms.
as in not just writers. You're saying talk to publishers, talk
Yeah.
to yeah,
Yes.
talk to
Yes.
everyone involved in the publishing.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
editors
Understand the
maybe.
industry.
Yeah, yeah, right. Okay. And the last question is, between poetry and prose, which one do you prefer? Which
Poetry.
one do you prefer? Like
Poetry.
poetry.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, as a writer, I would say poetry, but as a reader, I would say novels. And in that also, romance or thriller.
Okay. The genre is specific, right?
Yes.
So you, most of your other books are of this genre only, either thriller or romance, or have you
Yes.
tried another genre? Okay.
So I have written 3 poetry books and 3 short story collections and 2 novels, and one is a tiny tales collection.
Nice.
So I have dabbled in all sorts of genres. Thriller, a long form, I have not done, but I have written a couple of thrillers in this book and some in my tiny tales collection. So
Nice.
my next aim is to write a thriller in long form. Let's see when and how it happens.
Great.
Both my
Lovely.
novels are from the romance genre.
Okay. So romance is my favorite. Thriller is second, next. But first is romance, yeah.
Okay.
Nothing like for movies as well as books. I think rom-com or romance, rom-com movies and romantic novels, the best thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings us to my favorite part of the show, which is the rapid fire round. What we'll do is, we'll do back and forth. Okay, so
Okay.
I will start with my first question. Yes, Nilshri is saying right, Manali. Intent has to be clear. Well, yes, that's what I keep telling, and I wish somebody had told me when I thought of becoming an author. I wish I had that clarity in my mind कि मुझे book बाहर क्यों publish करनी है.
First of all, I feel a lot of people are so, the self-doubt should just go away, because if you're not writing authentically, na, it will show. It will show, I feel. You cannot write with the perspective कि audience को अच्छा लग रहा है कि नहीं, वही सोचते सोचते लिखोगे. It will not
हाँ,
work. You just have to
that
put
is also
yourself
true.
out there. Yeah, yeah. You have to be your authentic best. Whether it works or not is secondary. But first, if you're not putting your authentic best out, you will never come to know your potential, your own potential, क्योंकि वो डर बैठा हुआ है अंदर. Yeah, that is
Correct.
the thing.
Yes. Okay, so my first question to you in the rapid fire round. Just a second. One poem from this collection that was the hardest to write and why?
Hardest. Uh, so I've divided it into parts. First is the distance part, which is very common with every military wife, army wife. We all living in the forces have to go through separation. We have to live like that. So that was easy. The hurricane part, the problem part was also not difficult. That also came out easily. I think the part where the new beginning, you're trying
Hmm.
to writing through that, some of it would take a little bit of effort because there is a lot of hope inside me
Hmm.
while I'm writing that, right? It's all a very personal, all of this book is a very, very personal account. I wouldn't say it's maybe I have taken out stories from here and there and problems that I've seen in marriages,
Hmm.
but essentially it is me talking about my own emotions. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Nice. So, any particular poem that you can recall from that section?
I think that there are only a few poems in that.
Let me see if I can read one of them.
A new
If you can just
beginning.
tell me.
Wait, I'll just tell you. You just.
Acha, I found the section. New forever now. That's the one. Yeah. I'm going to read
Yeah.
out the first one from that. New beginnings. Who are we? That's the first one. Okay, this is how it goes. Do you yearn for the old days? You and me now older. You and me no longer. In those days of yore. Yet we continue to search for finding ways to renew. Together we delve into journey of who we are beyond what we have, beneath all that we haven't yet received nor achieved. Who are you? Who am I? Beneath this love we have carried through, the recurring question lingers: who are we?
I think the poem that none of the poems were difficult to write, but I think the one that made me felt good or whatever was like you feel a little better after you write sometimes, like a good release,
Yes.
right? I think was perhaps this is our truth. This poem.
Okay. Uh,
It's page 124. Yeah, perhaps
wait.
this is our.
Perhaps 125.
Yes, 124, 125. Right.
Yes, found it.
Yeah. I found a
Okay.
piece of me yearning apart for you. This one. It's no longer here, so why can't I stay content with the me and the you we've grown into? So this is, in the end, I'm just saying perhaps this is how love speaks through you, and this is how love speaks through me, and I should just like accept it. And this, while writing it, I think I was accepting it, so it just felt good. It is a good
That's
release.
what poetry is
Yeah,
magical, right? You know?
yeah, yeah.
Nice. Can you read out that full poem?
Okay. I found a piece of me yearning apart for you. It's no longer here. So why can't I stay content with the me and you we've grown into? Why can't I accept the ever changing me and you? I found a piece of me dreaming for you. But then I looked around. The old pieces of me and you had all renewed. Then why can't this heart take it all in and be at peace with the growing, evolving me and you? Perhaps to fill a void of innocence from childhood and youth. Perhaps it's the way we loved back then without any roles or rules. Perhaps this is the one truth about love and how it grows into something new. Perhaps it's our experiences, the reason we change our ways. Yet the love stays silent, strong. irrepressible, holding on to say, I'm still here, without a doubt, only deeper than yesterday, molded through memories. Love now runs in our blood. It is true. Perhaps this is how love speaks through you. Perhaps this is how love speaks through me.
Lovely.
Thank you.
That was
So,
very beautiful. Yeah, and I love the last two lines. Perhaps this is how love speaks through you. Perhaps this is how love speaks through me. So we are not generalizing. Maybe it's for both of us.
yeah.
Wonderful.
So, I think with the last two books, Echoes of Silence, which was a spiritual based, it started with I wanted to keep it conversations with God because when I started writing it, it was literally like having a conversation with God. Then it evolved into self discovery. So then I changed it into Echoes of Silence, and I wrote it during the pandemic time when all of us were, I think, going through a turbulent time mentally. So, that book and this book, I think I have tried to write in ways that are not very literal. You have to literally try and understand the deeper meaning behind the lines.
Hmm.
It's not very literal. It's there is a layer in, you have to like read it sometimes, reread it to
Yeah.
try and get the meaning out of it. Yeah.
The real Napster and Nilshri both have clapped for you and said, wow.
Thank you. Thank you so
And when
much.
you are reading, also, you are getting many hearts and fire emojis.
Oh, how sweet.
Okay, so your turn for the first question.
Yes. So I will now. Your favorite love story? I want to know.
Oh my God. Okay, I am going to sound very cliched, but I'm a 90s kid. So I grew up on stories by Nicholas Sparks. So I can't name one book. So I'm going to say all of Nicholas Sparks, whatever I have read, and even Sidney Sheldon. So if you have to say romance, then Sidney Sheldon. If you have to say thriller, then I mean, sorry, if you have to say romance, then Nicholas Sparks and
Yeah,
thriller.
good.
Yeah.
Thriller Sidney Sheldon, right? Yeah. Even I used to read a lot of Sidney Sheldon, I remember. Yeah, true. And so your favorite story is not one. You name one, Nicholas Spark? Mein bahut sari hai. Any one that you can think of.
I
The
think
first that
both A Walk to Remember and The Notebook, I think they are both tied at the first place.
yeah, true, true. Yeah, beautiful.
They're both really good. Beautiful stories.
Yeah. So
Okay, so my next question to you.
yeah.
Uh, are these, you have already answered, but I still have to ask because I've written it down. Are these based on personal experience? If yes, which ones? And if not, share the sources of inspiration if they are not personal.
So most of it is personal, I would say. In fact, the book is personal. The whole book is personal. It's deeply personal. In fact, sometimes I think and I sit in it. I mean, how over the years I think I don't care anymore about how people are judging me or what they'll feel after reading. My deepest thoughts. I just put it out there, and because I really believe that there'll be people who resonate with it, and how much poetry's healed me. I want people to also heal or feel better through it. So that's the whole motive. You can keep
Okay.
judging me all you want about my life and my love story, but I want to still put it out
Lovely.
there.
I love your candidness. I have to keep saying it because you are like, हाँ मेरी story है. What? I don't care. Nice. Okay, your turn.
My question to you is your personal favorite story from Heartstrings and Harmonies. That one favorite story.
Oh wow, that this is tough, but Since it is based a lot of on my own personal experience, I am going to say the word slogan "Stay vigilant," where we are talking about the two siblings. A lot,
Okay, that,
like more than 50% is based on my own personal experience because I have grown up with a sibling who was an overachieving person. So, and
oh, I
I
thought you
am
were
that.
the overachiever. Oh,
No,
it was,
no,
I
no.
got, no, okay.
I am the younger one.
You're the younger one, okay.
Yeah.
I'm the
So,
younger one. In my family, I'm the younger one. Yeah.
oh, so you understand
Yeah,
the constant comparison.
yeah. There used to be comparisons.
Okay, so my third question to you: a popular book that you did not enjoy and why?
Hmm. So the first time I read the Law of Attraction sort of book was Secret, that I really loved. But there have been various other books also of the same genre, or the same on the same lines,
Hmm.
which become bestsellers also, which I think is not, everybody's writing the same thing nowadays. I mean, ek baar ho gaya, we've got the point. But everybody who writes it becomes the best.
You're
So,
like एक बार हो गया फिर से क्यों लिख रहे हो? I love it. Oh, I'm going to
so I
use this
think
word in my caption. एक बार हो गया बस कितनी बार लिखोगे?
I'm like, we got the point. Law of attraction. You have to manifest it, and it works. It's true, and I think a lot of people will agree to that. That it really works. But what impressed me was Secret. The first time I read something like that.
Okay.
But there have been few books similar to that which I've read, which I was not impressed with. So I would say those. I can't name them. I don't even remember the names. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Any book which is trying to say the same kind of self-help books which are trying to say the same thing.
Hmm.
There's nothing new about it.
Yeah. Uh, I have to admit that I personally am not a fan of self-help books. It's as you
Yeah,
said. मतलब हो गया ना एक बार अभी कि how many times are we going to produce the same thing in different
yeah,
books and by different authors?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what.
Okay, your turn.
So I would want to know, in one word, how would you describe your writing journey, your whole journey till
It,
now?
it, it's a work in progress, I would
Working.
say. Yeah,
Okay.
because I'm still learning. Even 9 books down the line, even if you ask me about Heartstring and Harmony, which was just released a month ago, I would read it and say, I would have definitely done something differently. So, कुछ ना कुछ तो आएगा.
Every time you read your own work, you feel like ये थोड़ा सा और better यहाँ भी हो
हाँ.
सकता था, वो
So yeah.
लगता ही है. Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, it's a work in progress. And when I go back and read it and realize that I could have done it differently, I try and incorporate in my next whatever content piece that I'm working on. Not necessarily a book; it might just be a blog post or a social content. But I would try and incorporate that learning into my next whatever I'm creating.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Okay, so the next one is a fill in the blank. Poetry for me is dash.
Hey, views. It's like, okay, this is tough. I don't know how to say it. Uh, I don't want to just say therapy because that's not what it is anymore. I've done that's what it was in the beginning.
Hmm.
Now it's life. Now it's like, that's how I wanted to say breathing. Poetry is like breathing. Yeah, poetry is like breathing. I
Yeah.
think, and that's what I'll say now.
I get it.
Yeah.
I completely understand what you're trying to say. Okay, your turn.
Name the one author that inspired you to write your first story or your first poem.
Okay, first poem has to be Robert Frost or William Wordsworth. Uh, and because I grew up on that poetry. I mean, in school we have read we have all read
Yes,
poetry
yes.
by these
Yeah.
greats, W.B.
Great.
Yeats and Robert Frost and
Definitely.
William Wordsworth,
Yes.
William Shakespeare. So these are all the poets that have inspired me to begin my journey of poetry. But right now, currently, I would say I'm more of somebody who's into a contemporary poetry more than the classic poetry. So right now, I am more inspired by contemporary poets like myself.
So
And
exactly, I never thought I could even get into the classic. I tried to learn all the forms, but that's not something that comes naturally to me. So I'm not even trying to,
hmm,
you know, be that person. The legends, the greats, those people were different who used to write so well. The
yeah,
classic form of poetry. Yeah. Contemporary is something that comes naturally to me.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, free verse and free form poetry is my new love. I've embraced it wholeheartedly.
Same here.
And for author, as I said, I am a 90s kid. So I am again going to say Sidney Sheldon and Nicholas Sparks and J.K. Rowling and Enid Blyton. यही सब है.
All of these
Because
have inspired.
I grew up on those books, those authors.
Yeah, these are the books I've also read, right? All these authors.
Okay. My last question to you. What would you say to someone who has never read poetry or has read very few poems? And how would you try to convince them to read your book?
So I'll say, uh, yeah, like that's how I started Create, Believe, Inspire, my blog page. The idea behind Create, Believe, Inspire was, as a child, I felt, um, and I was targeting the youth when I started this blog. The youth that is the teenage till the 20s, 25. This is the age group I was
Hmm.
targeting because I believe this is the most misunderstood age where they don't, they don't, they're not able to express what they really feel, and they're not even able to explain that to their own closest people, maybe family or even friends, sometimes, and they
Hmm.
feel so misunderstood. And I have gone through that during my days a lot. I think, looking back, I realized I couldn't understand myself back then. I was just under a lot of peer pressure and a lot of complexes. So I wanted to create a page, a place where people can read, maybe resonate, and feel better that you're not alone feeling all of these feelings.
Hmm.
They're valid, they're all right. So that is why I created that. Now, my form of writing is poetry, it's rhythmic, but what I'm trying to say over here is something for you. Is
Hmm.
That's how I created Create, Believe, Inspire, and that's what it is, the motive behind the blog, to make people feel heard and seen, and like valid. Your thoughts are valid. It's all right to feel however you're feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderfully put. Yeah. So that brings me to the end of my questions. I think you have one remaining, right?
I wanted to ask you the one word you would use to describe whatever you felt like in one word when you read my book, Heart in a Hurricane.
Peace.
Please. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Because yeah, I could relate to it because as you were mentioning, it's about the kind of love that exists between partners who have known each other for a longer period.
Long time.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I have been married for 7.5 years now. And I've known my partner for 8.5 years. So yeah, I could relate to it. And
Yeah.
it's
So we'll say 15 years, 15, 16 years now. Yeah. For you. And so for me, same. I know my husband for 20 years now. So अभी तो मतलब ऐसा लगता है बचपन से साथ में ही थे.
oh
That sort of a feeling.
yeah.
When you are together for so long, na, that's when these kind of emotions or things in relationships happen. It's
Yeah.
natural, I think, between two people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you read it, you can relate to it, and it's very peaceful, calming. वो कहते हैं ना एक ठहराव.
Thank you.
because
I'm going to
yeah.
remember this and feel good every time I'm like thinking, अच्छा कैसा लग रहा होगा लोगों को पढ़ के. So thank you. That was so
My
nice.
pleasure. And once again, thank you for joining me today. And thank you to everyone who was here with us today. We had a lot of
Yes.
audience who was, sending us comments and saying nice things about the stories and poems that we read out.
Oh wow. Nice. So many people joined.
Yes.
Thank you to everyone. Yeah.
Sweet girl 251987 is here. I think they are from your contact. I don't know their
Yes.
name.
Yeah, even I don't know. Hi, sweet girl.
And she's sending us a heart, तो ये लो हमारा भी दिल.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thank you once again. This video will be available on my Instagram feed right away, and I will also be uploading it on my YouTube channel, so you can watch it, share it with your friends and family, and whoever is watching us and you have not been able to watch the entire episode, you
Thank
can go
you
back.
so much, Manali, for inviting me, for making this happen. I had a blast. I had so much fun after a long time. Just sitting and talking to a writer makes me feel very, very nice. So thank you.
Very happy to hear that. And I am glad we could connect. And when I reached out
Yeah.
to you, you said yes. And it all happened so organically. I was like, thank God I reached out to the right person. So, and then after reading your poem, also, I was like, yeah, this is the person I would like to have a long term relationship with. And I would
Yes,
have to like to include in my circle. So, thank you.
lovely, lovely. Yes, let's keep in touch. We should.
Definitely. Yes. So, have a great weekend. Thank you once again. Bye. Good
Take
night.
care. Bye. Bye, everyone.